What's good, guys? It's Ron Bang, also known as Youcapper from Sportsmemo.com. Welcome to another episode of Let's Cap. I'm excited to have this guest with me today. He's one of my many inspirations for going into this full time. I remember following him a few years ago before he really blew up. I wasn't even with Sportsmemo yet. I was smacking the NBA and someone was WNBA, and someone was like, "Yo, there's another dude that's hotter than you in the WNBA." I was like, "What the fuck is this about?" So I was like, "Who is this guy?" But like, yo, but in my opinion, I think he's one of the most transparent guys out there. Only person I know who knows the exact win percentage for his last 963 bets. Yeah, ski profit. What's good, man? How you been doing?
I'm doing well. I appreciate the kind words, and I enjoy following you and working with you. You do great work, and you're my friend too. So yeah,
Yes,
let's
sir.
keep it going.
Yo, we got to do Vegas again.
Yeah,
We
hell
gotta do
yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah, but before we get started on, we're gonna talk WNBA today. I just want to talk about what else is gonna be up on the show. So I'm gonna talk about what I learned yesterday, more specifically about the CP and the Phoenix Suns. Then we'll talk about the WNBA. No lines for tomorrow's games yet, but we'll just talk about what we kind of see for those teams coming up tomorrow. Possibly a prop bet. I don't, MLB's kind of been kicking my ass lately, so maybe it's something I'll bring up to you with a possible prop bet here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We don't have a UCapper capper of the day, so maybe tomorrow we'll have one. But yeah, let's just get started with capping these WNBA games. Actually, no, we're going back to what I learned. So I want to talk about the Phoenix Suns and CP. We had we were in the green room the other day talking about CP and Luca, for that top five in the NBA right now. I mean, obviously, based on the matchup, it's tough, right? Because it's not one on one. It's a team versus another team, 5-on-5 on the court. So it's really hard to compare Luca and CP. But as a team, Phoenix really showed why they're the number one team in the West through the regular season, and it has translated well into the playoffs. Regardless of who they face and the type of defense that they're facing, they rise up to the occasion. They play above, they play up to their opponent's levels. I think seeing the Dallas Mavericks struggle defensively is one thing, but if you actually watch the games, the Suns were hitting shots that were contested. These were tough shots to make. They're just outplaying them offensively. I didn't expect that to be another high scoring game for these two teams. The pace was slow. It was exactly what the Mavs wanted. It was just CP really just um, he was just a general on the floor. Everything he wanted to do, he was able to do. He's just really focused right now. Booker was hitting those deep threes, even late in the game when it didn't matter. He was hitting those like 30-foot threes. So I think the Suns are really they showed why they're the number one team in the league and probably the favorite right now to win the championship. What are your thoughts on the Suns and CP?
They're extremely deep. They play great defense. Like you're talking about their offense. I don't think they've gone under in a game so far. I know every single playoff game they've shot 50% or better.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter if you want to play half court, you want to play a tempo. They're going to get to their spots, and they got a lot of shot makers. So you're gonna have to, if you're going to beat the Suns, you're going to have to do it with offense. So I think that's what where the Mavericks are at, and Luka just needs a little bit of help. He can score just like Chris Paul can score on anybody, just like Booker is scoring on anybody. They don't have a soul who can stop Luka Doncic. Like to start the game, first
Mm-hmm.
five guys in the lineup all took a shot at him. Nobody could stop him. Next guy came off the bench, guarded him. Luka another bucket. So it's just gonna be if the other guys can help step up. And going back to Dallas, role players play a little bit better at the house. I think he'll get a little bit more help that time. So we'll see how it shakes
Mm-hmm.
out.
And we
I
know
still
we
got
know
Luka
Dell.
over CP though, for sure.
Top five. Uh, we know that defensively or the unders are big in Dallas home games too. Do you think it changes here in this series or as they go back to Dallas?
Initially, I did, but I heard before the series started, I heard Monty say, the Suns are comfortable playing either way. If
Mm-hmm.
they don't have to push the pace. He said, like they're comfortable playing half court. They know they can score on Dallas. Is pretty much what he was hinting at. The other
Mm-hmm.
side, after game one, they asked Jason Kidd like how he felt about the tempo of that game, and he said he was comfortable with it. Like they're
Mhm.
fine playing up tempo and getting up the court so they can get some open 3-pointers. So I'm not too sure it's going to change. Regular season, both teams played a little bit slower than I think we're seeing right now. And like I said earlier, neither team can stop the other. So it
Yeah.
might be an over.
It could be, yeah. It's just crazy because like they were a really strong under team as far as trend wise during the regular season. So to me, I lost two bets in the first two games because or actually the last game because I thought Mavs were really going to control the pace, which they did. It was a slower pace than it was initially. Suns were just making their shots. So yeah, we'll see how it goes in Dallas. To me, like I did a series preview. I had Suns winning this pretty easily, the series easily. I just felt like Utah really didn't stand a chance against the Mavs. Not only just because defensively they were struggling, but as a team they just didn't have the chemistry to stay with the Mavs. So and I think the Mavs looked a lot better as a team because of that. So that's why I saw value on the Suns, and it's kind of showing there. But I didn't think they were going to be dominating like this. Um,
I
yeah, we'll
think
see
it's
how it
gonna be a
goes
little
back
bit
in the
tougher right in Dallas. I
yeah.
don't
I
think it's
hope
gonna be
so.
that
Yeah,
easy.
for Jay's sake, I was texting him earlier. He was like, but yeah, all right. So that's what I learned yesterday about the Suns. They're just going to be a dominant team moving forward, and they're probably to me the favorites to win this championship. But I also want to bring up you mentioned the team the Suns being able to play up tempo and slow and just being comfortable to do that. I think on the other side on the East, Miami is doing the same thing. They're deep. They're coached very well, and they can play both offensively, defensively, up tempo, slow tempo. They could do it all too. So to me, it's Suns and Heat in the finals. But yeah. So what do you think? What are your finals teams?
Well, if I have to pick one from the West, and it sucks, like I hate that Gary Payton is hurt, but I like the
Yeah.
Warriors. I know the Warriors are deep too, and I just
Yeah.
feel like I like the Warriors lineup. I feel like if you put them out there with the Suns, like I said, the way to beat the Suns is to outscore them, and the only team
Mhm.
I really see doing that is Golden State in that death lineup. So um, I like it. We'll see. It's going to be a great series if they get to play each other. I would pick Golden
Yeah.
State on that side, and for the East, I have Celtics and I have Heat to win the East. So I'm
Mhm.
happy with either one. But
Yeah.
if I got to pick one right now, I'll be honest, bro. I like the Celtics. They just the Heat. I feel like they have it easy right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Philly right now is a nobody. Celtics been playing the best basketball all year as far as 2022. They swept the Nets, which you can say what you want, but it's not easy to sweep KD and Kyrie.
Nah.
And then this series right here, they're being tested a lot more than Miami is. So I think the Celtics are the team to beat in the East as long as they can stay healthy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, their defense is super strong right now, especially closing out the regular season. All right, well, yeah, from NBA to the WNBA. Let's talk about some of the games that are coming up tomorrow. I know the lines aren't out yet, but we do have the matchups lined up, and we could just talk about who we think is going to win the game and where we kind of see these teams going during the regular season, and then hopefully we could look at some possible futures bets. First, we got Indiana Fever and Washington Mystics. To me, I see like the Fever being probably the worst team in the league once again. They were really they weren't great last year, and I don't think they made enough changes to make an impact this season. On the Washington side, I think they have a few good players. They have a nice guard duo, Natasha Cloud and Errol Atkins. I think Elena Deladon is going to be huge for them because she missed the majority of last season with the injury. And I think she's going to make a huge impact here for the Mystics and kind of get them back up to where they were when she was actually healthy, able to play, a full regular season. To me, in this one, I feel like this is obviously I think it's a blowout game here for the Mystics. I don't think Fever is going to be able to put up much really. Kelsey Mitchell is pretty much their only offensive threat at this point on the roster that I could see. What are your thoughts on this game here, Ski?
Yeah, the Fever, it's a lot of new faces over there, but they're still going to be absolutely terrible, just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Only the Mitchell, the Mitchell are the only people I trust to get a bucket on
Mm-hmm.
that side. For
Yep.
Washington, I think they should take a big step forward. I think they were 12, somewhere like 12-20 or something like that last year, and they just dealt with a lot of injuries. This is a team that not too long ago, it's championship pedigree. A lot of these players were in the championship. So
Yep.
Natasha Cloud, one of the players I'm talking about, Deladon. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I just think they're the more veteran team. They're the better team. And if Deladon is healthy, she's a bucket. Maisha Hines Allen, she had a great year without Deladon. I think if you put them out there together, it only makes the game easier for both of them. So I agree with
Mm-hmm.
you. I think it's a blowout type of game. And I don't know that I'll touch the total just because I think Washington names their number, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much I trust Indiana to score.
Yeah. For you brought up Hines Allen. I think she's gonna be dope because one thing is, obviously Elena Delle Donne was injured for a majority of last season. I think they're gonna really be take a lot of precaution with her. So with their Mystics games, I don't think she's gonna play every game this season because they kind of want to just keep her healthy as the season goes on. So one thing on Mystics games to watch out for is her status every game. She's probably going to be one of those LeBron type players where every game she's going to be a game time decision, and the line's going to move based on her in or out. So that's one thing I want to mention on the Mystic side. But I think we are on we're aligned here as far as Mystics being a blowout in this game one, Fever versus Mystics here. All right, next up is the Sparks and Sky. This one's pretty dope. I like obviously the Sparks coming in with Liz Cambridge, right? I think that's a huge addition for that team. Kennedy Carper is dope too. I think she's more of a scorer though than a facilitator. But they're probably gonna put her at the point guard role, and then obviously you got I don't even know how to say her name. Ogwumike. How do you say it, Ski?
Agumake, Agumake.
Agumake, there you go. Yeah, her and her sister, right? I think those. I think overall that starting lineup is pretty dope. And I seen their futures numbers, their futures odds was actually like towards the lower part of the lower end of the league. I think they're gonna surprise some people, in my opinion, based on the starting lineup. And if Liz Cambridge can kind of play up to, obviously she's getting up there in age, but if she can play up to where she was a couple years ago, even to a certain percentage, I think this team's going to be pretty dope and surprise people. But they're playing against the Sky, and they're probably one of the top contenders for the championship again this year. One thing to note though is their guard combo Quickly and Vandersloot. They're also getting up there in age, and Candace Parker is getting up there in age. So it's going to be interesting to see how well they do through a whole regular season. Obviously, Quickly and Vandersloot probably the two best 3-point shooters in the league, or two of the top 10 3-point shooters in the league. They picked up Emma Miesemann, and she played for Washington a couple years ago. She took last year off. She played for Washington a couple years ago with Elena Delle Donne, and they were a really good forward center combo.
She was the
I think
MVP, I
she's
think.
Miesemann.
Yeah, I want to say she was the MVP.
I think she was it. Maybe it was that year. I don't know. I don't think I don't. Maybe she might have been, but yeah, she did really well that year though. The last year that Elena Delle Donne played, so she definitely could have been MVP that year. I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, I think she was a huge addition. I know she missed the whole year, but she was playing overseas, I believe. So it's not like she's out of shape or anything like that. So they're going to be a top contender this year in this matchup here. Even though I think Sparks are going to do better than what most people think, this one I feel like Sky will start out the year strong, especially with everyone being healthy. Like I said, the age thing is going to be a factor as the season moves on. We might see some maybe like a rest management type of stuff later, but right now I think Sky would be able to win this one outright in game one. What are your thoughts on that?
A lot of different things. To start, just what you said about LA. I'm not sure how much I trust them in the futures market, like to actually, make it to win a title. But I definitely
Mm-hmm.
think they'll have a better year this year than they did last year.
Yep.
Sykes, she's a great defender. Um, NECA and her sister, they're great. Kennedy Carter, I'm a big fan of her. She's a baller, and I feel like she has a lot to prove. Coming from Atlanta in a situation that she was just in. She
Yeah.
didn't even get to play the second half of the year. So I think she's gonna bring it this year. Liz Cambage, again, I know at the end of the year, like playoff type time, she missed, I think, with COVID. And I want to say a few times throughout the year, she was even in and out of the lineup. So if
Mm-hmm.
she can put together a full season, get some chemistry going with this team, I think they'll definitely have a solid year. And, I think they have something to prove coming out the gate. Whereas Chicago, they just won a championship. They've probably
Mm-hmm.
been, enjoying that, partying a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know how focused they're going to be in this game one. So I think I'll be leaning more towards the Spark side. They should be
Mm-hmm.
getting, a good amount of points in this one. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be an up-tempo game. Like Kennedy Carter wants to play up-tempo. Liz Cambage, she should be able to score at will versus Mason. Miss
Mm-hmm.
Mason is great offensively, but she's not going to be able to handle Liz on the defensive end, and neither will Candace. Really, as great as Candace is.
Yeah.
So I think up and down game. I think both teams can score. I lean Sparks and I lean over.
Yeah, I like that look on the over. Like you said too. I'm a big Kennedy Carter fan. I think this is a good spot for her. Like I said, that starting lineup here on the Spark side, I feel like is gonna kind of like get out the gate pretty quickly. I really like that starting five for them. I think it's really underrated. But yeah, I could definitely see if the Sparks get a good number, I could definitely see them covering, and the pace being quicker, especially if this guy get off to a good 3 point shooting with quickly and the Vandersloot there. It's going to be a high scoring game in my opinion, and the Sparks will be able to kind of catch up as the game goes on. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me with the over as well. So next up, we got the Lynx. Sorry, I think it's the Vegas Aces and Phoenix Mercury. I think for this game here, Aces obviously they got Asia Williams, right, and then they picked up an NBA caliber coach, right, in Becky Hammond. They're a deep team, especially at the guard position there. I think Chelsea Gray is the floor general for this team, but two people I think who are going to step up this season specifically, I think is Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum. I think Plum is going to score. I think there was like a big gap between her previous year and last year as far as points per game. I think she went up like 6 to 7 points per game higher, and I think she's going to get another increase. I think she's just a straight baller in my opinion. I've seen her play in Washington, and the way that she's able to score. I think to start the season too. I know she was sixth man of the year or sixth woman of the year last year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So I think she's going to be able to start this year. I think because Chelsea Grays might be a game time decision, or she's out this first game, if I'm not mistaken. So she might be able to play this first game, start this first game. And on the Mercury side, I see like Brittany Griner isn't a big deal here. She's not going to be there to start the season. And they went and got a couple of really good players in Tina Charles and Diamond DeShields. I think DeShields is a baller too. She to me she's similar to Kennedy Carter as far as like someone that wants to that can score and also has something to prove. But Tarasi obviously is getting up in age. Skylar Wiggins, she's going to be able to hold it down if Tarasi takes any days off. So what is your take on this game specifically on these two teams?
I'm not sure. I have Chelsea Gray listed as game time decision, so I'm not sure if she'll be out or not. And yeah, Kelsey. I mean, man, I'm blanking out a little bit here. Plum,
Yeah.
she did win Six Women of the Year last year, and the 2 years before that, Dearica Hamby won. So this
Mm-hmm.
Vegas team, they got a lot of talent. Raquana Williams is another lady who's a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the biggest fan of Jackie Young's game, but she's been getting better. So kind of like how similar, like you talk to me every day about NBA, like how Ja is good.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of Ja. Jackie Young is good. I'm not the biggest fan of the way she plays
Yeah.
basketball, but she's
Yeah.
she's getting a lot better. This other side, the Shields, 2 years ago, she was amazing.
Yeah.
She just been dealing with health issues. I feel like her knee hasn't really been right ever since then. She was struggling with it all last year. I want to say even the year before that a little bit, she was struggling too. So I just hope she can be healthy because she's a really
Mhm.
good player. If so, um, Tina Charles should be pretty solid over there, holding it down until Brittany Griner comes back.
Mhm.
And the only thing I'll say about Phoenix in this game is they're not that deep of a team. Also, I don't think Kia Nurse is back yet.
Nope.
So they're missing a few pieces. They're already not that deep of a team. I think, the longer this game goes, the advantage Aces. So that's the side that I'll be looking towards in this one. And also,
Yeah.
I know Aces are going to play up tempo. They're going to try to push the pace, especially now they're not starting Cambage, they're starting Dearica Hamby, or at least
Mhm.
that's what's listed right here. She wants to run up and down the court. So I think it's another over type game, and I like the Aces.
Yeah. Another thing on the Aces team too, like their roster has a full squad of versatile players. Like you can even have a Williams at center if they wanted to at a certain point and get like a three, like a small ball type of lineup. So I really like their roster, and like you said, they're really deep, and typically the deeper rosters kind of as gradually as the game goes on they take over. So I definitely could see the Mercury there doing that thing. And we have a Lynx Storm next. This one here, yeah, Kayla McBride is out for this game. I think she's I think what their best scorer in my opinion. Nafisa Coyer, she's also out. She's supposed to be sort of like the future of this organization as well, because
Hmm.
obviously Sylvia Fowles is a beast, right? But she's really getting up there in age. So I don't know. To me, like when they get up there in age, especially in the WNBA, it's really hard to see how, because we watch NBA so much, right? And we're so used to guys like LeBron hitting 30 whatever, however old he is now, but being up there in age, but still playing at a high level, right? And for Sylvia Fowles, the way that she plays too, she should be able to kind of manage her game and her style of play in the WNBA. But for me, it's just hard because I haven't watched the NBA for like 10 years, WNBA for 10 years to see how age affects the bigger players, the taller players in the WNBA. Obviously, you see like Tarasi and Sue Bird able to last, but how do the bigs do when they get up there in age? That's my only question about Sylvia Fowles. And but their team is dope altogether. I just to me, I see their futures market being higher than what I think it is. I don't think they're going to be as good as they have been in previous years. On the Storm side, I kind of feel the same way. Really, it's all about Brianna Stewart and Jewel Lloyd right now. Sue Bird is touching 41. She's over 40. I don't know. I don't think she's gonna play every game. One thing that I could say though is I feel like there's a player Ezzy Magbegor. I think she's gonna take a big leap here. She played a few games where Brianna Stewart was out last year, and she played really well. There was a couple times where she hit double doubles, and I think that if she can get up to where her potential could be, she could be another threat for the Storm team down in the post. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think on this Minnesota side, first of all, what you said about fouls, like I'm not worried about her at all. She's a beast. She was playing
Mhm.
amazing last season. She's gonna, do the same thing, followed up again this season. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure this is gonna be her last season. So
Mhm.
um, I think she'll go out with a bang as far as playing well again. I look at the injury report, like you said, Nafisa Collier, that's one of their star players. That's a lot of points out the lineup. Demiris Dantas, that's a floor spacer, a shooter out of the
Mhm.
lineup. McBride, McBuckets, like you said,
McBuckets,
she's
yeah.
one of the better scorers, or not the best scorer on this team. And then there's just a lot of points missing from this Minnesota side.
Mhm.
They get Angel McCautry over there now, coming off injury from Vegas. If she's healthy, she's more than capable of scoring. But I just see this more of an under type game, like too much offense missing for Minnesota. For the Seattle
Mhm.
side, I know, it's not a lot of, I don't expect Sue Bird to play a lot of defense.
Mhm.
I do expect, Jewel Lloyd and Stewie to do their thing, but I just
Mhm.
can't help but get over the lack of offense for Minnesota. So I think this is a game where I focus on under.
That makes a lot of sense because I feel like the Storm squad too, their roster is built to play defense now and really just and just rely on Stewart and Lloyd to put up the points. So that makes a lot of sense on this under. I like that. I like that look even without even seeing the number. Um, So yeah, all the offense missing on the Lynx side. We didn't even mention Odyssey Sims on the Lynx side. She's also a really great player, but she's more of a facilitator than a shooter. She doesn't really shoot the ball well or shoot at a high clip. So that's also, I mean, having a great player, but not really having a lot of offense to really pass to as a facilitator. So I love that look. That's probably something I would just go blind on the under right now.
Hey,
But
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be playing some of these games tomorrow. I'm gonna come in and
I am too, bro. Shit, I'm gonna hit you up tomorrow. We're gonna line
let's
up on some of these WNBA.
let's do it.
Yeah, and then yeah. So those are the 4 games tomorrow. Did you have any futures bets in the WNBA at all?
Well, I feel like there's a lot of competition, but
Mhm.
in my mind, um, you can always hedge this ticket down the line. It's not a huge price, but I think it has a good chance of winning. And it's going to be Connecticut Sun um,
Mhm.
plus 400 to win the championship. And really, they've been there the past few years. They made it all the way last year without Alyssa Thomas. Um, they're going to have the best player on the floor pretty much every night, Jonquil Jones.
Yeah.
Um, Getting Courtney Williams back. She played with them a few years ago when they made the finals, and the chemistry is going to be there. She's a bucket for a team that plays amazing defense, but can sometimes have scoring droughts. So I like
Mhm.
her over there. And then Jasmine Thomas just be the general, keep everything composed. So I like what I see from Connecticut. You probably see a lot of blowouts. They're, in my opinion, the best home team in the league, and I think
Mhm.
they'll be there at the end. So you have a chance to hedge it at 4-1. I like them as probably my best futures bet right now.
Yeah, I think they're the overall favorite right now to win the finals, or the championship. If I'm not
Aces.
mistaken, is it the Aces? Is that what you have
Aces
as?
are the
Okay.
favorite.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, like to me, like I get why the Suns too, but I also like the Aces as well. Just based off of not only having Becky Hammond as a coach, having that NBA game and her mind, her knowledge from there, learning from one of the best coaches ever. I think that's going to bring a huge advantage to the Aces in key parts of the season, and also the depth that we talked about earlier is going to be huge for them too. So I definitely could see Aces Suns in the finals, but it sucks because they're both the top 2 teams odds wise to win it, but they just make a lot of sense to me. Um, I haven't placed that bet yet. I don't know if I'll end up doing any futures bets really, but yeah, I think those 2 teams are favored for a reason on the East and the West.
The Aces have
Um,
been favored the past 3 years. I can't help but I got to, man, they've been favored or like up there the past 2, 3 years, and they
yeah,
haven't been making it. Like, and what kind of players I like. And the
yeah,
Aces don't have a lot of those players as far as shooters.
the shooters.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
telling you,
and
man, Plum is a shooter.
oh,
She's a
yeah.
scorer. Yeah,
Uh, I
but
mean, they
they
have
probably just
some. They
yeah.
got Plum. They got Raquana Williams. I mean, Chelsea Gray is solid, but just looking at like what the expected starting lineup is, Asia Wilson, she's not stretching the floor as great as a player as she is. Dearica
Mhm.
Hamby, it's not too much shooting there.
Yeah,
Jackie Young, it's mid-range city. It's no three-pointer, so the floor is going to be packed. And if you
yeah.
play a team like Connecticut with that great defense, they're
Their
going to
defense.
force
Yep.
you to shoot the three. So that's been the problem the past few years with Vegas. We'll see if they can get over that this year.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, especially with Jones being when you have a center that can shoot the three ball that well, like it does a lot of work, especially in the WNBA because you can bring if you play teams like Minnesota where or like you said like Asia Williams and stuff like that. If you can bring all those rebounders and defenders, the low post defenders out and stretch the floor, it does a whole different level of damage in the WNBA specifically.
And
So yeah,
this
that makes a lot of sense.
the Sky last year, I mean, what I liked about them, they added Azare. I think I'm blanking out. Azare Stevens, I want to say. I know for sure her first name is Azare. She's a center.
Uh-huh.
She usually wears her hair in a ponytail, but she stretches the floor, and she was an amazing pickup for the Sky
Mhm.
last year. And you got her, you got Misa. Those are 2 players that can stretch the floor for them. So that's probably the
Yeah,
other team I like there.
yeah, man, you're talking me into this Connecticut Suns future, man.
I'm excited, bro. I'm ready for WNBA to start.
Me too. It's like almost perfect timing too, because the NBA is about to finish in a month or so. So yeah, it's perfect timing. But yeah, man, I think I'm gonna skip on the prop today because it's hitting a 30-minute mark, and I want to kind of keep it at that level. But man, I really appreciate you coming on today and talking WNBA because hopefully we can do this a lot this season. WNBA, I know me and you, we like to take advantage of these small market sports here. Um, Dang, you know what? I forgot to ask you a couple questions.
No
Let's
worries.
do it. Let's move it. Let's actually take some time to do that real quick because I really want to ask these questions because to me they're really important.
All right.
So obviously, so let me get them up real quick. So the questions I want to ask you. All right. So I know you bet on multiple sports successfully, right? Also, I know that you use situational angles as part of your handicapping process. Is this something that you feel works for every sport? Like you, is there a certain specific situational angle that you can transfer between sports and it works well?
I think there's multiple. In general, yeah. To answer your question, I think there's different situations in each sport. It's just up to us to find which situation presents an edge. And in general, league wide situations versus team situations, I think mean a lot more unless it's something travel related, where like this team didn't get into the next city until 4 o'clock this morning. That's something I would look at for sure. But sandwich spot, teams overlook maybe a bottom tier team when they have some revenge on their mind or something like that. Rest advantage, that's usually big. Injured player theory, it's a few things you can go from sport to sport, and it just translates.
Dope. Yeah. There's another one that too that you were talking about league wide versus kind of team trends. One thing
Hmm.
I want to ask too is because I kind of started doing this year when it comes to team trends, like how teams do off X like 2 days rest or like any specific situation based on team. Do you think it's a good idea to at least use that as a uh like a like a support trend
Hmm.
because in some situations I feel like certain coaches do things differently. So one team could be really good off 2 days rest versus another team not doing 2 days rest. So looking at it as a league wide perspective, but also supporting it with the team trend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying throw the team trends in the trash. They're important as well. Like
Mhm.
certain teams, they'll have a role and they'll have success in that role all season long. For example, we talked about the Mavs, how it's been an under team at home, or it's been years where Sixers they win all the time at the house and they can't win on the road. I mean,
Yeah.
stuff like that exists, and I'm not saying to ignore it at all. I'm just saying I trust league wide trends more than team trends.
Yep. No, I actually 100% agree with you, but I just wanted to get your logic behind it. The other
That
question
good
I
old
have too,
logic.
yeah, that logic, yo, both of our favorite classes in college. All right. Yeah, the second, then the next question here, the last one is, so I believe you went from a low volume better to a high volume better this year. Can you talk about why you made the switch and what are the pros and cons in your decision making from going from low to high volume better?
um, well, why I made the switch? So I've had a few years. I've been profitable in the NBA betting low volume, like you said. I've been profitable in MLB betting low volume. I've never done. I've only done NBA high volume now. Like you said, my last 900 or however many bets. I've never had that many in a season until this year. And really, it's two reasons why I started doing it. One, because we work with a lot of smart guys um, who get a lot of information from different places, and I see them using that information and placing a lot of good bets and coming out profitable. So, if I see that, that means it's possible to be done. And for myself, to start this year in the NBA, like my problem was I felt a lot of way about all of these games, and I would ignore majority of them and just play one, and everything else I was liking would win that I didn't play, and the one I played would blow up and lose. So I figured, if I'm playing a majority of my edges, it gives me a better possibility to come out a winner. And as far as pros and cons, like the pro to being a low volume better is you don't have to put up. I mean, I guess when you lose, you're not losing that much.
Mm-hmm.
You're losing a little bit at a time. That's really the only difference. It's not about high volume. It's not about low volume. All you got to focus on is just placing good bets. Because if you're if you're placing bad bets at low volume, like I said, you're just losing money slower.
Mm-hmm.
If you're placing bad bets at high volume, it's going to be losing money fast. Same thing. You just got to focus on
Yeah.
placing good bets. That's all I learned.
Yeah. That makes help. That's funny because the way that you mentioned that NBA thing about how all your leans would win and the bet you actually place loses. Remember that screenshot I sent you in the chat?
Yeah.
It's like it's a 29-9 system, and I bet that system 8 times and lost every single time. Like it's pissing me off, and that's why I kind of wanted to get your thought process on that because maybe in the MLB it's just better for me to be a high volume better than trying to pick and choose because right now my MLB stats suck. Like I'm down a lot, but my NBA is keeping me up. So and if I was able to bet on my leans that I had on my system plays, I
uh,
would be up. I would be up in the MLB, but I'm just kind of scared to, like you said, take that risk of having too much out there as far as like putting too much money up at one time.
but what I
So that
did and what I would
go
say
ahead.
to you is, I used to play like mostly like how we do the percentage 1 through 5%. It would be
Yeah,
mostly like 3 to 5% plays, and I was playing like 1 to 3 plays a day, low volume. Now, I just play if I'm playing high volume, it's to be 1 to 2 percenters, pretty much every single play every day.
yeah.
So it's still the same amount you're kind of risking. It's just across more bets.
Yeah. So it's kind of like spreading it out a little bit more. That makes a
There you
lot of
go.
sense. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, man, I really appreciate that. Like every day I always try to learn something new. Obviously like I look up to you as far as being like a super smart better a sharp dude and that's why I vibe with you so well. But yeah, man, this is the end of the show. I hope, hope like I said, hopefully we do this again and kill the WNBA season. But yeah, that this is the end of the show, guys. Once again, for thank you for tuning in. And but before I shut this down, let me just remind you guys: you can fade or follow us. It's really up to you to make that call. You're pushing the button. So today, good luck on all your action. Until next time, peace.